What's going on, guys? ShadowNinja, and today we have a lot to cover in regards to Destiny 2, the whole narrative going on, the story for Season Chosen. It's seemingly wrapped up, and my oh my, has a lot of great things happened so far this season regarding the story. I hope this isn't, I guess you could say, the overarching end of this story. I hope we get a little bit of tidbits throughout the season, but we have other things on our roadmap that probably will hinder that. But nonetheless, there's a lot of things that go down, and first and foremost, the strike that was tied to this story was perfect way to cap it all off. So last season, basically, Zavala, challenged Kaido to a right of proving, basically following the Cabal politics, and it was pretty fitting. And I gotta say that the strike itself was very, very, very awesome. Now, here you're gonna be seeing him telling us he challenged the whole thing that we have to go through, and I think this is one of Zavala's, most interesting. The best part about this was when he said Brachus Zavala. I was like, oh, that sounds weird, but I'm for it. But I'm gonna shut up and let you guys listen to what Zavala said.
I issued a challenge to Kaido, knowing she could not show weakness in front of her people. She accepted. And now the time has come. It's simple. A final rite of proving. We each send forth a warrior to represent us. Whichever side claims victory sets the terms of a binding agreement. If we win, Kaido ceases hostilities immediately. Her forces never set foot on Earth again. But if we lose, we surrender Nessus and support her claim to the Imperial throne. And as a gesture of good faith, I become Brachus Zavala and serve on her war council. A glorified hostage. That cannot happen. Kaido's chosen warrior waits deep within her fortified tank. Storming it and defeating him in ritual combat will be nearly impossible. But I've come to expect the impossible. From you, Guardian. Represent the Vanguard in the rite of proving. Be our champion.
Now after this, clearly, we entered the rite of proving. This strike itself was honestly one of my favorites to experience. Now, will it rank as top 3, strikes so far? Only time can tell. We have to wait to see what the Nightfall and the Grandmaster is like, things in that nature. But overall, I really, really enjoyed all aspects of this strike. It was well balanced, it had a lot of enemies, it was chaotic, and even the final boss had a little bit of a mechanic system to it, and it fit the whole Cabal politics, and the music, the score, it was very, very fitting. Now, I think one of the best parts of this whole, season story / gameplay is that it's all been intertwined together, and it's been feeling like it's meaningful to tell the story, and it makes sense in the realm of what's going on. So this rite of proving, basically, Kaido sent her best, challenger, and Zavala sent us, the Guardian, who's, defeated gods and things in that nature. Apparently, Kaido thought, she could beat us, but that's a whole meme in itself. But yeah, once we do it, Kaido gives some interesting dialogue that will lead into a cutscene.
Kaido, your champion falls.
I yield. Let us meet and discuss this treaty. You may be a soft, small man, Zavala, but you hide some powerful tusk.
Thank you.
Now, I think my favorite part about what she said at the end was, she was telling Zavala, like, you know what, I underestimated you a little bit. I should have had a lot more respect for you Guardians, things in that nature. So I thought that was a little bit tidbit, but next we're going to be getting I think you could say, one of the most craziest things that sets the narrative going forward into different threads that we can all explore, and hopefully we do.
Let our blood be the last spilled. Let this ground be hallowed. Let honor bind us. didn't order this. Bring me the one who pulled the trigger. They'll know who did.
Are you all right?
I'm alive.
Oh my god, I've never enjoyed a cutscene to lead off or open a season in such a long time. That was really, really awesome. We had a lot of things happen in there. We had, the armistice between, Zavala and Kaido honoring that, showing that she is an antagonist and not a villain, and I really enjoy her characters this season. Her whole story, her whole lore is very intriguing. She's one of my favorite, characters in the Destiny world because there's this intriguingness to her, and there's seemingly an understanding of respect that we have as a player for her. But again, it seems that Kaido doesn't have all the Cabal behind her yet, and this makes an interesting, plot thread for, the Cabal itself. They've always had these infightings to a degree, but Kaido's really working to unify the Empire once again. But it seems like these Scions or the Concave, now haven't dived too deep into the Conclave, but from what Bife has talked about and what I've seen on Twitter as well, the Conclave are basically a little rogue shadow faction that is working to undermine Kaido for their own purposes, and the fact that they almost took out Zavala means something. Now, on top of all that, with the whole Civil War-ish thing going on within the Cabal, we had the revelation that Zavala, was saved by Uldren Sov, or who is now the Crow, and him, I guess you could say, moving past, the loss of his dear friend Cade 6 and things in that nature, because it was pretty crazy to see this image of him just reaching out his hand and picking him up. And the fact that once the mask broke, when the Crow's mask broke, I was like, oh, we're gonna get this is gonna be interesting. But he asked if he was okay, and then this whole thing leads into something later. We're gonna showcase some dialogue bits between the Crow and Zavala, but this is very intriguing because this is something I honestly didn't think we're gonna see right away, but we see it. And Zavala embraced him with open arms. He wasn't, at the moment, he wasn't like, oh my god, we gotta, pull out his gun and shoot, the Crow, or who we thought was Uldren. But it was an awakening, it was a moment of healing, and for everybody, and it was definitely one of the, best parts of this cutscene. Now, next up, we're gonna be showcasing something about what the Crow was saying, his thoughts on everything, and it's definitely a little bit fascinating because it does give us a little bit more insight of how he feels about everything.
I've officially been commissioned as a recon agent by Commander Zavala. He wants me to track down the conspirators who tried to sabotage the ceasefire. I believe Kaido when she says she wasn't behind it, but let's not take chances. 2 assassination attempts is more than enough, I think. Zavala looks at me, and I feel like he really sees me. Who I am, not who I was. He didn't say much else, just that it might be a good idea if I laid low while he figured things out here. I know it's taboo to talk about the people we were before, but the weight that's been hanging around my neck since I woke up in this body, it finally feels a little lighter. I doubt this is the last time we'll be seeing each other, Guardian.
Now, I think the part it's always been hinted at, but I guess you could finally say we're really getting it deep into, was the fact that Zavala see for who he is, not who he was, and that, it felt like a great burden that he was unaware of, that he had no knowledge of who he was before, is like lifted from him. He's one of the few people you can say that who is now a Guardian, that we know who he was before, and that weight of what he did, he doesn't, he suffers from the repercussions of taking out Cade 6, but he's not the same person because he's a new reborn character. He's the Crow, not Uldren. So that whole dynamic is definitely interesting. It's the reason why I think he's one of the most fascinating characters in all of Destiny right now is because of that dynamic he has of who he was. We knew who he was, but who he is now. And, we're going to talk about him a little bit later after this next cutscene, but it's definitely intriguing. we're going to see him again, but I'm curious to see what he discovers on his recon mission that Zavala sent him on. Now, next up, Zavala has, I think, one of the most interesting bits in terms of, discussing the future of the Vanguard and the state we are in until the Witch Queen comes next spring in 2022. Check this out.
Aldrin Sav is dead. Ikora spoke those words when I offered her the news of Crow's unmasking. She already knew, of course, as did Osiris. And you. Without trust, we become like the Cabal, fractured and consumed from within. I've sent your friend on a reconnaissance mission while I determine the best way forward. Empress Kaito will honor our agreement. This is an armistice, not an allegiance. Those who do not answer her call to leave Earth are criminals in the eyes of her empire, left to us to deal with as we see fit. Saladin will have words, I'm sure. But preserving what's left of the Cabal insulates us from further incursions by Zivu Aref, the enemy of my enemy, Guardian. Until such time, they are not.
Now, the biggest takeaway here is that the Vanguard is truly divided with trust. It seems that whenever, I guess you could say when Cade 6 died, when Aldrin Sov killed Cade, that really fractionized the, Vanguard. Ikora and Osiris didn't tell Zavala about Aldrin being reborn as a crow. When he confesses to her, like, hey, the crow is here, Aldrin Sov, she said Aldrin Sov is dead, she wasn't shocked. She knew, and we were keeping this from him. And he said, I think one of the biggest things, revelations I didn't really notice at first was that the Kaito and Zavala are very much the same character. They're just, one's the protagonist, one's the antagonist to our perspective. Now, in terms of, dealing with leaderships of what they're governing and who they're leading, there's trust issues, there's divides. Saladin doesn't think Zavala's up to the task because he wants more of a, all out, scorched earth war mentality. Osiris with his hubris feels a certain way to what Zavala does. While he does understand certain tactics, again, he felt that, Zavala wasn't capable of knowing about the crow. What else is he hiding from Zavala? What else does he think Zavala isn't capable of knowing? That's that question now that Zavala has. Ikora, his right-hand fire team member, you can say, with the Vanguard, she doesn't trust Zavala to the extent of that she'll keep this secret as well. So what else is she keeping secret? All these different things really show how, separate and divided, everyone is right now. And I think one of the most interesting facts is, or things going forward, is that the crow, seemingly who Aldrin Sov divided the Vanguard, is many ways I feel like going to be the unifier to the Vanguard. He's going to unite everybody once again. He's going to fill the void that Cade 6 left on. We do know based off the Hunters there, he is destined for the Hunter Vanguard seat. It's only a matter of time when he gets it, but judging the fact that the Witch Queen is coming and Savathun is on her way, the Vanguard needs to get it together, and I think that's going to be something we're going to be exploring throughout the next seasons. We're going to be seeing how we need to, reform and trust each other once again, because we have a great threat that we need to be united on, not divided on. So with that being said, this pretty much wraps up all of the Season of Chosen story quests. It's a little unfortunate. I know when the next season comes, we'll definitely be covering the story stuff, definitely right off the bat, but yeah, this is honestly, in my opinion, Destiny at its finest. This is Bungie showing that they can tell a story within the game itself besides just great lore, and I'm excited to see what they do with this, method. I think the biggest part that helped out a lot was a lot of in-game cinematics in terms of like conversations with, Saladin or Zavala. There was a lot of dialogue and mini cinematic moments we had that really made this whole experience feel alive, and I would loved it every single bit. So let me know what you guys think about this whole Season of Chosen. What do you think about the story? I actually do like the fact that we have Guardian games and other, events that are going to, hold the narrative and, give us a little bit of breather from everything, have some fun. So it's definitely going to quiet on the narrative side of things, but I'm excited to see what Guardian games is. But in all, I'm going to wrap it up here, basically saying this. If you guys enjoyed this video, you guys found it informative, enjoyed what I said, enjoyed the content, definitely drop this video a like. And if you are new here and want more videos like this, whether it's Destiny 2 weapon reviews, gameplays, discussions, or even Call of Duty Warzone gameplays, rants, discussions, whatever, definitely hit that subscribe button for all that good content. With that being said, that's all I got for this one. ShadowNinja here, and I'm out.